Hello everyone and welcome back to Milo Farms. Just a quick video here on all the things we go through for the pre-season maintenance for the RX-1. So there's lots of other things that could be included, but these are the big things that I'd recommend. So let's get started. So starting up here at the front, you want to make sure you have a good spare drive belt. Then you want to go ahead and check both your clutches underneath the cover there. You want to make sure that your drive belt is equal to or just slightly above or just slightly below by a millimeter or so of the secondary clutch when it's parked. You want to make sure it's not way down in the clutch or sticking up way high, because that'll change your gear ratio. It's a prime opportunity to change your spark plugs if you need to. They're located under all these coils, all 4 of them. It's also a good opportunity to check your carburetors. If you're not sure of their condition or how long it's been since they've been cleaned, it's a great time to take them apart, clean them up, make sure they're jetted properly, and put back together. You don't want to be broken down on the side of the trail because of a carburetor, and on a 2-stroke you definitely don't want it to burn up your machine because the carburetor clogged up. It's fairly unlikely on a snowmobile that the air cleaner and air box would get dirty or clogged up, but it's always a possibility with a rat or mouse or something getting in there. So it never hurts to check that out just to be sure. You want to check all your controls on your handlebars, make sure they're all working properly. You want to make sure your seat's in good condition. There's not holes in it or rips in it, things that you could get caught on. You want to check your suspension. Make sure everything's been lubricated, nothing's bent or broken. You want to check your Hyfax down here at the bottom. You can see there's a little wear line right there. You want to make sure that you're not touching that wear line. You also want to make sure that they're not extremely unevenly worn. Then you want to check your track tension. That's what I like to use for track tension right there. So maybe a 1/4 inch below the Hyfax in the center. Yamaha recommends a little tighter than that, but I find it works really well the way it is. You want to check all your idler wheels. Make sure none are broken, none are seized up, and they all have lubrication. And you want to check if you have scratchers. You want to make sure they're in good shape. You want to check the track itself. Make sure there's not rips or tears. Something minor is okay if one little piece is missing or something like that. Not a big deal, but you want to make sure it's not ripped to the point that it's going to start flapping and leave you stranded. If you have heat exchangers, you want to check those. Make sure they're not damaged. So you can see on the left running board is one heat exchanger. Up there is another. Then there's another one on the right running board and another at the front of the track. So you want to make sure those are all in good shape. You want to check your lights. Make sure all your lights are working properly. Headlight, tail light, instrument lights. You want to make sure you've got a full tank of fuel and it's the proper type of fuel. You want to check your antifreeze. Make sure you've got plenty of antifreeze. It's up to the fill line. If it hasn't been replaced in a few years, maybe 5 years, you ought to replace it. Get some fresh antifreeze in there and make sure all the bubbles are bled out. You want to make sure you've got plenty of oil in your oil tank, and that's been changed recently. Your filter's been changed within the specifications, and it has the proper type of oil in it. On a machine like this that's exclusively electric start with no backup recoil starter, it's essential that your battery be good. So you want to make sure the battery's been tested and make sure it's putting out the proper amount of voltage and it's not on its way out. You want to check the skis. Make sure the skis are in good shape. Make sure your wear rods on the bottom of the skis are not worn out. And make sure your skis are not cracked or broken. Make sure your instruments are all in good shape. And your windshield and your hood. Make sure nothing's broken there. Make sure it's all working. Make sure all your front suspension is in good order. Make sure nothing's bent or broken. Make sure your skis are aligned. Make sure all that's working correctly. So that pretty much covers the basics of what should be done and checked before the preseason. So if there's anything that we covered in this video, there's another video in the playlist. You can take a look at all those things and get those done. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Remember, you can't finish a project without getting started.